Everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that, like he who shall not be named, formerly number 39 on the St. Louis Cardinals, should be completely eliminated from all discourse, erased from history and memory, and never spoken about ever again for as long as we all shall live. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined by my co-host, Vince Morgan.
Miles Michaelis, right?
Yes. If you have an idea for the opening bit, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS. Hambone, that one came in through voicemail.
All right. Was it good? I'm not sure. Was it wordy? Was it the lengthiest one we've ever had? Without a
doubt. And I guess that's in itself an accomplishment. I'm not sure if I want to start that as like
I will say for the listener, Nate, it was a 2-take. It was not easy for Nate to get out, and that brought me joy. So if you're thinking about it from that angle.
Hold on. It was only a 2-take because I started and then Slacks, interrupted me. But I feel like I nailed the meat of that in one.
If you're watching this podcast, watch the work that Nate has to go through to read that.
Reading is tough.
Now that I couldn't be more on board with. That is the smartest thing you've ever said. But just saying, if you like getting that, effort out of Nate, then keep doing it.
On the substance of the message, we've had a lot of fun, roasting Miles Michaelis over the last year. The single most impactful Cardinal pitcher in the last 5 years, Miles Michaelis. This one felt a little over the top,
You think so?
A little bit. You think so?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Well, I think that was the whole flavor. We were going for maximalist, right? We were going for it was, and I'm okay with
erased from history. I guess I agree with.
I do think that is going to, like, the sands of time are going to just. There will be a time where only you and I remember Miles Michaelis pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals, and we will tell our children's children that he was here, and no one will believe us. They'll look at us sideways.
The 2 legs remaining in the sand. Yes. Hambone, we're skipping past. I should have brought this up last week, and for that I'm sorry. It was just Big Birthday Ben. Happy birthday, Ben. How'd it go? Celebrations abound.
Happy birthday to you.
Big birthday, Ben.
Happy birthday to you. It was I think mid to late 30s. Who could give a shit?
We're deep in the
right?
aging curve past the peak. Most podcasters aren't even still podcasting at this point in their career.
At least not at the level that they were, 28, 29, 30.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good. My birthday typically falls on Martin Luther King Jr. Day weekend, which big bless up to my mom for planning that one out. It's really nice to get a 3-day weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, mine is right around Halloween, which often, while there's not a day off, there's some fun festivities that kind of coincide with it. But, DRMOKJR Day, a day of, thoughtful consideration. So you don't feel that outshines your birthday? Are you saying you're perhaps more important? Is that what you're saying?
No, I will happily ride on the coattails of MLK JR or whatever the hell you said.
DRMLK
so we have this great, my lovely wife makes me a key lime pie for my birthday, and then we went up to the mountains and skied and drank. I had oh my gosh, we went to this really crappy towny bar in the city where our house is in. And while the football matches were going on, this place was serving $2.50 PBR drafts.
Okay.
So we do like that. I was cashing in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. And we watched the Broncos win. And then Bo Nix's ankle shattered, and boy, the mood went sour.
I don't know. I don't know who that is. Is he a Bronco?
He's their quarterback. Okay. By my understanding, he kind of came out. I don't know how highly touted he was, but he's like saved the Broncos. The Broncos are relevant again.
Okay.
Won the game at the end of the fourth quarter, and then it was like within 10 minutes of the game being over, there like Bo Nix's ankle is shattered, and he'll play football in like 25 months or whatever.
Oh no!
So the vibe in the bar, we were having a good time. You know, I was putting money in the jukebox, but folks didn't like that. But yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, I don't. Oh, relevant to this podcast. Yeah. My lovely wife gave me a couple of birthday gifts, and one of them was this like really. I posted it in the Bird Scored. One of this like a really like well put together fancy scorebook, like a baseball keeping scorebook. And I think we've talked about this on the show. I've never been one to keep score before, but I've been kind of like talking about it, how I think like that's definitely part of me getting older is I'm going to be the scorebook guy. So anyways, Mary got me this, and my plan is to take it to our spring training
I was
trip,
going to ask.
And I'm going to start I'm going to start keeping score. I'm going to try to I won't be any like Stu Styles on the scorebook, but I'm gonna do my damnedest and try to engage with it. You know, get off my damn phone.
I get it. That'd be fun. It did look nice. I thought that was a thoughtful gift. But not really my vibe with a game. But I do get it, and I think you would be pretty good at it. I did think about. So we've talked about it on the show a little over the past few weeks as plans have been rumbling. But now we have confirmed like plane tickets are bought, places booked. We are going to spring training. We're going to be there in the first week of March, which makes me think this will be a good test ground for your scorebook because those are going to be the games where we're getting 18, 19 different players in a single game. So it's going to be a bit of a mess, and that'll be interesting.
I'll be scoring with pencil, and it's probably going to be bad. Yeah. But, you know, that's why we have spring training is to...
Well, it's spring training for you, I guess. You know, you're getting the regular games when you're at Rockies games and you're just putting strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. You know, you'll be really prepared for that. Fly ball to left field, strikeout, grounder to second. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Shohei comes. Homer. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to keeping score. I'm looking forward to all those things. And, you know, the year of me being 37, Nate, wow. It bang, zoom, just taking off.
He's on a heater, folks.
You know what's funny is Miles Michaelis and I are almost the exact same age.
Yeah. And we got him, didn't we, folks? Man, that guy sucks compared to everyone else.
I know, just thinking about how like his career is essentially done, and I'm like, I don't know, what am I doing?
Yeah, like got 30 more years.
I'm hanging in there.
I got one last little thing before we we got a packed show as always, but I was looking at movie award season is about to be upon us, Hambone, and it occurred to me, I was looking at the list of the Golden Globe winners. There's a movie that's, you know, doing well in awards right now that I'm surprised we haven't talked about. I assume this is your favorite movie. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know anything about it, but I assume you have one or two of these like in your closet somewhere. Did you see who won Golden Globe for Best Picture?
I don't remember.
Hamnet?
Wow. All that for that.
I assume you have at least a couple Hamnets somewhere in your house.
Well, the thing is with ham is you don't have to catch it. You know, it's just ready for you.
I figure you're always at...
One might need a pig net.
Sure. Oh, one might. But I'm thinking, you're out and you see one, you might want to scoop one. You know, just snag it from someone. A net might be useful.
Because I can't use my hands to grab it.
You might.
Oh, yeah, I'm stealing it.
You might be like reaching through a window or something.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like a...
Oh, so this ham has been baked, presumably. And then somebody's sitting it on the windowsill to cool off.
Sure.
And I smell it.
And
then
float over to it like
that my legs lift off the ground. I float over to it, and then I cartoonishly pull this net out of my pocket and capture the ham, and then run down the street.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, honestly, I had been thinking more of like almost like a butterfly net with like a long stick and a hoop at the end with a net net that you would like stick it through the window and snatch it off someone's kitchen table, maybe. But all the rest, yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's really good.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's timely. It's just good.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, I'm out of bits prepared for the show. Let's talk about the St. Louis Cardinals. We did not get.
You prepared that?
Well, like I said, I was looking at the winners of Golden Globes, and I thought, how have we not talked about Hamnet on this?
Yeah.
I feel like I set it up and knocked it down quite expertly.
I think it's about Shakespeare.
It is. I looked into it after. It's about his son.
Cool.
Hamlet, more like let ham.
Stop it.
Ben likes a lot of ham, folks. All right, let's talk about the Cardinals. So we did not get. We really thought maybe after the Arenado trade last week, it seemed like everything was coming together and we were going to get answers to every question. But we did not get the Brendan Donovan trade this week, and we both still think it's absolutely still very likely. There's been no movement on that. We did get a little bit of information from Nolan Arenado and his thought process through this whole thing and some of the communication with him. Do you want to break that down?
Yeah, I got 3 quotes here. I think I'll just read them all and then we can discuss. So this was Nato talking to various sources after, obviously, the trade. He said that seeing where the Cardinals are headed the past few years, it was very evident that there's a step they need to take. This is Arenado obviously talking about his departing of the Cardinals, letting these young guys go and finding out who they are and who their identity is. He then went on to say, I think I'm just kind of in the way of that in a sense. I kind of always felt like that last year, which kind of bummed me out to read that. And then he went on to say, I loved my time here. The conversation that I had with Chaim Bloom was very much want to let some of those young guys play. Not that I'm in the way, but we need to see what we have. So obviously, like Nolan kind of having some feelings about why he ended up here. He also talked about that when he decided to opt into the remainder of his 8-year, $260 million contract, it was because he planned on finishing his career in St. Louis. So I do think that, Nolan's kind of a weird guy when it comes to his like public facing persona.
Yeah.
Maybe I think we kind of roasted him on some personal life choices and stuff like that last week. And I think it's funny to hear, like, what am I trying to say? I don't think we can underestimate how bad the relationship was when he was leaving the Rockies, how they made him feel, how, Nolan, I don't think he wanted to move, but they essentially forced him to move by alienating. He comes over to the Cardinals. Obviously, every Cardinals fan is ecstatic that he's here. The front office treats him like a person. And I think he really liked being a St. Louis Cardinal. And I think he really wanted to stay here and try to win here. And, obviously for a billion factors, and I don't think maybe slightly one of them being his own fault, the team kind of just deteriorated ever since he got here. Like we got worse and worse and worse. But it is kind of sweet and kind of sad to see him talk about this.
Yeah.
Like an MLB player saying that he felt like he's in the way of the team's progress is not something that you hear regularly from these types of guys.
No, let alone a likely future Hall of Famer who nearly won an MVP with that team he's talking about just a couple years before. Really, this is all really like the center of why I started last week's discussion about Arenado, feeling just kind of sad about it, even though we knew it was the right thing and we were happy it was done. I think you can feel and hear some sadness in Arenado's discussion here, wanting to retire as a Cardinal and all that stuff. Like, it's just, like you said, at the end of the day, the reality is if Arenado had put up 4 WAR in 2024 or 2025, 4 or 5 WAR, we might have just been like, hey, you're the centerpiece. You'll be here through the rebuild, and you're the leader of this team, etc. And so his own declining skill set is a root cause of this whole thing. So, you have to take that into consideration. But at the end of the day, it is disappointing, and this isn't the way that anyone wanted this to end. And obviously, by the way Arenado's talking about it, it obviously isn't the way he wanted it to end either.
No, and it's this whole thing is like weird uncharted territory for Cardinals fans around our age, right? Like we've just never experienced this. We've had obviously superstars leave, but it hasn't been like, I think we were arguing, I don't know if we, probably in the old version of the show, we were arguing for Matt Holliday to be retained for another season. Like, let him end his career a Cardinal. It's not been this situation where somebody's kind of like slowly become more or less and less effective. The team's deteriorated around them. And then, he kind of walks out with his legs or his tail between his legs and $30 million behind him so that another team will take him. The whole thing is just kind of bizarre.
Well,
but
I mean, part of that, to be fair though, to the Cardinals, now while we haven't really liked this in some situations, part of the reason that they've avoided that is by avoiding mega deals to various free agents. You get yourself into this spot by having some of the highest paid players in the league on very long contracts. And they basically have never done that. Matt Carpenter in his last couple of years was maybe similar, a beloved Cardinal who had fallen off and it was kind of just time to let him go. So there's been a little bit of that. But for the most part,
but that was more like, let him go because we like our other guys and we want them to have at bats. This is just like,
we dumped you. We traded you for not, we are spending $30. We're spending $30 million to not have you. It is different, but you're right. We haven't gone through this because it hasn't occurred for a number of reasons. And the last time the Cardinals were bad for extended years, like the concept of rebuilding and all that just didn't really exist. Not in the way that we think about it today. Like in the 90s when the Cardinals were bad, if you had a bad contract, you're just like, well, they're just riding it out and we'll see what happens,
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting thing you said. Like, so the rebuilding, what it used to mean and what it means now. Like, I don't think the Cardinals are about to pull a Cubs, pull a Orioles, pull a Astros. I think that, the team, we haven't really talked about this, but the team is going to be probably pretty bad this year.
I think we've talked about it a little bit. We were talking about it last week.
I guess we haven't talked about like, what are your expectations for how many wins are we going to have next year?
Yeah.
Have we talked about that?
Maybe we pitched that as a segment to like, let's do a breakdown and a realistic expectation of outcomes for 2027 or 2026. But I'd have to go back. Like, you're right. It's not this. They're not doing what the Cubs are doing or what the Astros were doing. At least that's the plan, like
for now.
I think if I remember correctly, the Astros really did do like this is a 5-year thing. We're going to be good in 5 years, The Cubs, it was a little less. They weren't as open about it being a many year process. So we haven't gotten a ton of those, and that's not what this is. At least that's not what the plan is, right? It certainly seems to me that the plan is to be competitive in 2 to 3 years. But that's the plan, best laid plans, etc. No such thing as a pitching prospect,
No, there isn't. But golly, do I like Liam Doyle, and sure, it seems like the industry does too.
Yeah. I just
But
took
yeah.
him in a first year fantasy draft. I was very excited
Oh, cool. I'd like to hear more
oh
about
man,
that.
I'll talk. I also got Ryan Mitchell, the Cardinals number 55 pick later in the draft. He's a guy we should look into. He's flown under the radar from the 2025 draft. With
Yeah, I feel like maybe I've read about him or we talked about him. He's a freak athlete,
Yeah.
right? Like super freak
and
athlete.
MLB.com put him as the Cardinals like number 9 prospect right out of the gate. So
Hey,
something to look at. But yeah,
I'll look at Ryan Mitchell. Don't you worry about that.
we're gonna look at Ryan Mitchell. We might see him at spring training.
I bet we will. So that I'm actually like, I'm very excited about that. Like, it's fine and dandy to see the, well, shit, I don't even know who the Lars Newbars of the world,
Yeah,
the Pedro Pajeses of the
sure.
world. But I'll be very excited to see, all the youngsters. I'm really excited. I think like, well, let's just move the conversation to this. I think a huge spring training for Nathan Church. I think it's a huge spring training for J2 Weatherholt. Really curious to see what Victor Scott looks like when he comes back. But there are fun spring training stories to watch. Like, is JC gonna rob Nolan Gorman of third base?
Yeah.
Is he just gonna come out and dominate, and Gormy's gonna keep talking about popcorn or whatever the hell he talks about, and get swooped?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. And we're gonna be there, Nathan.
I know. I've been thinking about that. So we're going to be at the games on the 5th, 6th, 7th, and maybe 8th. And if memory serves, those will be the games where like we'll get one at bat from the starting lineup, give or take, and then it'll just be all everybody else after that.
I wonder though, because it is like it's like, okay, established big leaguers. Let's say Brendan Donovan's gone. Burleson is an established big leaguer. Do you agree?
Yes.
Lars Newbar, established?
Sure.
Okay.
For the
Mason Wynn is an established big leaguer.
certainly.
And then we have Gormy, Walker, Pajes, Scott, not established big leaguers.
Yeah.
So like, I do wonder, like, how are they going to manage this?
Yeah.
Because none of this feels locked down to me.
No, maybe we'll get more early plate appearances from guys like that, just to get the competition going early and see what's up. It'll be a very, very interesting spring. Probably one of the more interesting springs we've had in a while. It certainly seems like one of those where the coaches can earnestly say, and not just say it because they say it every year, nobody has a guaranteed starting spot on this lineup.
Yeah.
And we certainly have a prediction that will most likely end up being pretty close based off of expectations, but there could be some real changes depending on how spring training goes.
I agree. And Nate, you're talking about coaches.
Wow.
What a segue. Let's talk about a coach. Yadier Molina. This just came out today, right before we hopped on the pod.
Yeah.
Is officially returning to the organization as a special assistant to President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom.
We love it.
Molina will work with the Cardinals catchers in their minor league system and help shape the development curriculum for those players. Just give me your hottest take, Nate. What do you think?
I mean, we
about
love
this?
it, right? We love it, don't we, folks? Especially later in the
Wow.
summer. This is like exactly what we want him to be doing in the short term is Yachty working with the catchers. What more could you ask for? Now, I think we all project probably a bigger role for him long term, but I think it's a great way to get him back into the dugout, back involved with the team, and doing what he does best. And we have some of the most exciting catching prospects in baseball. So, like,
We're covered in them.
yeah. So imagine what a little bit of that Yachty flavor can do on Herrera. I mean, not even a prospect at this point, but what if Yachty can help Herrera become a legitimately good catcher? That is a game changer for Herrera and his career and his impact on the Cardinals. But what about Crooks or Bernal or Rainiel? Like, 4 of the Cardinals' like top overall organizational players are catchers. So
Yeah.
lots of opportunity there for Yadi either to craft the future of the Cardinals catcher position or significantly improve their value for trades to other teams. Either way, it's great.
I think he's going to unlock Pedro Page's hitting.
But I mean, not the outcome that I'm anticipating. But
No.
apparently the Marlins are looking for a catcher. So
we said it like 2 months ago. I think it makes all of the sense in the world for another team to trade for Pedro Pages, who would not want one of the best defensive catchers in baseball, who could probably be got for not that much. I don't see the purpose of Pozo or Pages on this team.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ivan Herrera is a catcher until he's not. Jimmy Crooks and those other two young guys, we have too many, and those are the two least exciting of all 6.
Yeah.
Let's move. I don't get it. I don't get Pozo. Why? Well, I'm getting all worked up.
Well,
doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I'm always torn on this because you gotta have 3 to 5 catchers on your starting lineup, and so at least in your 26 man. So you don't want to remove too many of these because what a powerhouse this team would be if we had all these catchers on the MLB roster.
Yeah.
So that's important to think about.
Oh, I know, Nate. I know exactly.
We don't want to forget about that point. I'm excited for Yadi, and I think it's good that he's coming in with this focus. And also, this focus maybe eases some of the concerns of people saying he's breathing down Marmal's neck, that sort of thing. It's maybe in time, eventually that's going to be a thing for him, but bringing him in to work with the catchers and be in the dugout, it's going to be great. And we're all we're going to have a good time seeing Yadi back in the dugout.
100%. And I get that Yadi wants to be a manager and everything like that, but he's going to Oli Marmol is going to listen to Yadier Molina when he has suggestions or in-game strategy calls and stuff like that. So Yadi can kind of have the best of both worlds. He gets to work with the catchers and the pitchers and do that thing that he loves. And whatever he says, Oli Marmol is going to take extremely seriously because he is a Hall of Fame catcher who wants to help you win.
We might be marching towards some sort of puppet state here, Hambo, you know what I mean? Where Marmol's going out to talk and he's sweating and looking over at Yadi for hand signs for all guidance.
I think it's important that you said that out loud, Nate. And I think it's important that you put that out there. And I think that it's important is the first word and brave is the second word.
Thank you.
I would use.
That's one of my key characteristics, I think.
What's funny though is Mike Schilt looked more like a puppet than
He did kind of look. Why is his hat always so low? Pulled it too low.
Weird head.
Yeah.
I think he's got a bad head.
I think. Not like us, Hambo, with our good heads.
All right. Baseball America, they released their top hundo prospects, and I think, the Liam Doyles were there, the JJ Weatherholts were there. Yeah, we all know that. But what I thought was extremely exciting, Nate, is that your guy, Joshua Baez, was number 54 on Baseball America's overall prospect ranking.
Hambone, the sheeple are waking up.
You get doing manosphere. What are you doing?
I don't know. I've been calling the Josh Baez breakout since early last year, and at this point, it's pretty well known. He had basically exactly the year we were looking for in 2025, and the publications and everything are catching up. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't play for the Cardinals in 2026. We'll see, but he's had this sort of skyrocket, age appropriate. Everything's come together exactly right. There's obviously no shortage of opportunity for high upside players, and there's no doubt that that's exactly what he is. He's a guy you can really put some upside on, and I'm very excited. So it's cool to see him show up on the prospect list too. Unless they call him up immediately, it won't surprise me if he has a good spring and good, start to the 2026 season, and some of these other guys start to graduate, I think he's going to fly up these lists even more.
I mean, I think there's a decent chance still that Lars Nootbaar is not a Cardinal come spring training or maybe come opening day. And in that scenario, that, Nathan Church is probably in the outfield at some point. Walker maybe in the outfield. But that really makes Joshua Baez like kind of a no-brainer to have him starting in one of the corners and out, and maybe even picking up some starts in center field. He's young and fast and made of rubber. He can do anything. But I think that it'll definitely happen this year. Couldn't agree with you more. It could happen like opening day, depending on what
if he crushes in spring.
If Newt is still there,
and Newt, it could. Yeah. The winter warm up was this weekend. We were invited. We had press availability, but not.
Yeah, we were invited.
Not able to go.
Seriously.
Yeah,
we were invited.
It's like cool. It's no big deal.
I feel like a lot of people are saying that we weren't invited, and I just want to be clear.
Yeah. Now that's brave.
I'll show you the email.
Yeah. But couldn't make it. And anyways,
so on and so forth.
I know one of the takeaways Jake was talking about is it certainly seems like Jordan Walker is the starting right fielder going into the season, barring an absolute collapse in spring. But you've been watching those clips. You've been watching the driveline clips and whatnot. He's putting in the work, Hambone.
I've seen the driveline clips. I've also seen him put up the worst season
I know
we've seen by a baseball player in quite a while.
Yeah, I'm really torn on this because what I said at the end of 2025 is my brain take, which is we just got what we were all calling for, which is a full year of Jordan Walker, and it was horrible. So I'm totally content with the Cardinals starting him in 2026 in AAA and saying you have to earn it. I think they'd be very justified in that decision. But that was my take coming out of 2025 and is frankly, I think probably still how I feel like intellectually. But emotionally, I'm completely back on the other side. Let him rip, baby. Look at that guy. What's he going to do at AAA? I mean, really, he needs to just sit at MLB, face MLB pitching, and get to the point where the team should be chasing upside right now in every capacity, and there's still very few people in all of MLB with more upside than Jordan Walker. So what are we doing otherwise? So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. I'm just not like my jets have cooled.
Yeah.
But I'll watch the driveline clips. I'll watch the clips. I'll get pumped.
Dude, we love a clip, don't we, Hambone?
I want to bring it back to the young guys. You kind of have your hobby horse, Josh Baez, right?
Uh-huh.
And I kind of wanted to bring up my new hobby horse that I think this podcast didn't mention him. We have never mentioned him before. And I don't really see a lot of talk about this guy. And I kind of wanted to, and I'm not saying I discovered him or anything like that. I feel like he's under talked about. And when I was doing some digging over the last week or so, I thought he was worth bringing up. And that's Deniel Ortiz. Nate, are you familiar with Deniel Ortiz?
Not really. No, I saw you wanted to talk about him, so I kind of looked into him. I'm like, yeah, I see why you want to talk about the guy. So yeah, you set it up.
Let's just bring it. I just want to talk about it. This guy is 20 years old. He split 2025 in between A and high A. He was drafted in 2024, round 16, pick 6. So obviously pretty far down there. Overall pick 471. And across 107 games over those two levels last year, it was 450 plate appearances. Hit 13 home runs. He had 39 stolen bases. He walked at almost a 15% rate and struck out just below or just above, or sorry, right at 26%. He had his overall WRC plus on that entire year was 152, which, by the way, did you see that Ruben Amaro Jr. talking about how WRC plus is stupid.
Yeah, what he say is like, I don't care about WRC plus. Tell me how many runs did they drive in? Tell me how many RBIs, how many home runs they have. And I'm like, dog, that's what that is.
It's what it is. And that guy was in charge of a major league team like not that long ago.
It's
so
weighted
anyways,
runs created. It's
he's willfully ignorant, which I guess I kind of envy him in a certain degree. But so anyways, this kid, he's 21 years old now. He's 6'1", 230. He's a first base, third baseman. And I have linked on the outline here his Prospect Savant page, Nate, and I'm not sure if you're looking at it or not, but almost everything is in the 85th percentile or above. He is fast. He hits the ball hard. He barrels the ball. He slug. He bats for average. He does everything you could possibly do. Prospect Savant has like a number that they associate with prospects based on their performance and their underlying metrics, and it's called the Prospect Savant score. It's 0 to 100. He has a 92.9 rating. Obviously, he is maybe a little old for where he's at.
Yeah.
But all the numbers look good. He's absolutely mashing. I think we'll probably see him at some point in some form or fashion in spring training, even if it's just to get that, he wears number 92 and gets one at bat. But this is my new guy. He's a corner bat. The bat seems legit. The patience seems legit. The speed seems really serious. And I just kind of wanted to take a couple of minutes and spotlight him. Very excited to see what he does in 2026. And I think he'll get a lot more attention coming this year on this podcast and in other sources.
Yeah, I obviously, as you pointed out, I mean, almost everything. It's one of those Savant pages you pull up and just like, it's a wall of red, which is what you want to see. I would imagine, Hambone, the reason that you're not really hearing about this guy, you've said them, and not to throw water on him because there's obviously more good than bad here. But I bet the reason he's not showing up on prospect lists and whatnot is the fact that he's old for his level and he struck out almost 28% of the time at that level. So he's a swing and miss guy, but when he makes contact, he's making incredible contact. So these are like huge risk profiles, right? If he's striking out 27.5% of the time at single A, what's that going to look like when he's against fellow early 20s guys throwing near MLB type spin? You could really see how that 28% becomes 36%, and all of a sudden he's no longer valuable. So just from a prospect ranking standpoint, that's probably why he's that not being talked about yet. But that gets solved by him getting maybe promoted to AA, a more age appropriate league. And if that K percent stays around the same and he continues to put up this type of red everywhere else, I think you'll see him fly up the lists.
Yeah, I'm calling it now, Nate. I think that's going to happen. I went down a little like MLB film room hole watching him. I am buying what he is selling, and
all right,
I think he's going to be. I think he's going to scream up that prospect.
I mean, that's
just
it's part of the fun of this. This is where the fun is at right now, folks. As a St. Louis Cardinal fan, is looking for these sorts of guys. Who are you going to find that is like, at least this is a type of fun that I enjoy about this. Maybe you all out there have different, but like finding these guys, AA, single A, breakout years, and watching the rise and hopefully seeing the debut and the success and all that. It's part of the fun.
All right, Nate, I'm just going to say it. He's the next Juan Soto.
Damn. I'll take the under.
No. Okay.
I'm going to get into sports betting now.
He'd already be in the big leagues if he was Juan Soto.
Yeah, he's 3 years older than when Juan Soto made it to the majors.
All right, I take that one back.
Okay.
All right. Okay, there. I did my thing. We talked about Deniel Ortiz. He's cool.
Yeah. All right, so I don't know. Do you want to go through some of there hasn't been much movement, but there have been a few rumors happening right now of Cardinals expressing interest in players. To me, there were the two that has really stood out. Seemed like there was actually some more heat around them, and that was a Cardinals apparent interest in Griffin Canning and apparent serious interest in Miguel Andújar. Let's start with the last one. You had called out Miguel Andújar as a potential, as the Cardinals have made it pretty clear, especially reiterated at winter warmups this weekend, that they do want, or at least they have space for, a right-handed bat. I've been pretty skeptical of the whole thing, questioning if it's absolutely necessary. But I will say Andújar, of the list of people that have been thrown out there, is the more appealing to me. Still young enough, has had a pedigree in the past, it does one thing really well, which is hit left-handed pitchers. That to me feels a lot different than like your DJ LeMahieu's and things like that, where you're kind of just hoping they stave off retirement one more year and are suitable, But I'd be fine, or fine is maybe underselling it. I think an Andújar signing could add value to this team and be fun to watch, which would be certainly valuable. Where are you on Andújar?
Yeah, I think he is a player that can absolutely hit left-handed pitching. Everyone knows that about him. And he is a player that can be traded at some point during the season, and you can get something back, because there's going to be a team that's going to need that specific thing, and they'll give you a player that you could not have gotten without having him. So I think it's like just that alone, it's probably a good idea to bring that guy in. I also do think that there's some kind of there's a value add to the team that is kind of hard to really explain. That it just takes a little bit of pressure off of Lars Nootbaar having to be the guy. It takes a little bit of pressure off Alec Burleson. It just takes a little bit of pressure off all the other guys on the team. I think especially the lefties, for not having to be in every tough lefty situation. And I think that that's like just a quality of life thing. Having another guy that's actually a big leaguer in the dugout is just inherently a win.
Yeah.
I do worry, though. I am kind of like, now when I'm faced with this reality of the Cardinals actually looking at Miguel Andújar, at least reportedly, does this mean like Jose Fermin and Thomas Saggese are going to have at-bats taken away from them?
Probably.
Because Miguel Andújar is there? And then I wonder, do I like that?
Well, that's been my argument this whole time, Hambone, is what are we, if we truly don't care about winning in 26, which is not exactly true, but more or less true. What are you accomplishing by giving these at-bats to someone else? Other than, I think that's an interesting point about like, all right, Newt, you don't have to go out and face Chris Sale today or whatever. Like, that's got to be a nice day off,
Right.
I can see that. And, you get a few injuries and you don't want to overexpose some young player also having a veteran around. Like, I get that. But for the most part, my thought is every at-bat should be about the future. And I also think there's multiple teams interested in Andújar, and he is so good against lefties. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a 2-year deal, maybe even 3 with like a 2 with an option or something like that. And at that point, should the Cardinals do more than 1 year for him? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. There's just a lot of things that don't make sense to me as far as bringing in anybody like this. But it certainly seems like there's a desire to, and I think it's mostly for all the stuff that you've said.
So just, out of curiosity, Miguel Andújar was traded from the A's to the Reds last year, and the Reds traded a player named Kenya Huggins, which great name. Love it.
Kenya Huggins.
And just kind of curious.
Hey, Kenya Huggins? That's like what you said, like, come here, buddy, Kenya Huggins, and you do it.
Yeah, you're asking consent for a hug. Yeah, I get it. Kenya Huggins was the 4th round pick in 2022. Looks like he topped out at high A last year. He's a starting pitcher with peripherals that are okay.
Sounds like a giant cartoon bear. Kenya Huggins.
Yeah. He's pretty 6'3", 215. Okay. He's not small.
Oh, that's a big boy.
Looks like he throws the ball hard. He is the currently the Athletics' 12th overall prospect. So is it worth giving Miguel Andújar money for half a season to go get Kenya Huggins or somebody like Kenya Huggins?
Whatever, maybe 250. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. That like these are these fringe things that like it's not going to kill the Cardinals if they do it, but it's also probably not going to be a source of like, oh man, we really collapsed in 2026 because we didn't have that lefty masher, Yeah,
I think the smart move and maybe a slightly more shrewd move is just all of those at-bats should go to Fermin and Sajc.
Yeah.
Just feed them as many at-bats as you can. Make Sajc and Fermin play in the outfield corners. Just squeeze the ever-loving juice out of them rather than getting a guy who, like, the other thing with Andújar is he's not a great first baseman, he's not a great third baseman, and he's not a great outfielder. And I think that Sajc and Fermin can do all of those things too. They can be not great outfielders and fine infielders. So I think that's probably where I land. But if they brought him in, it'd be fun to talk about a new player for one.
Yeah.
And at least we'd have you have him and Ivan Herrera in the lineup against the lefty. You feel decent about that.
Yeah. The other guy, Griffin Canning, he's been good in the past. He's warranted some big deals in the past. Great name. Love Griffin Canning as a name. My only question at this point, let's say they do bring him in, we're in such a fundamentally different spot with our rotation. Well, who is pitching now? Who is actually a starter and who isn't? Because like now we're at like 8 or 9 guys that we think are starters, and that's good. I mean, what a world to be in. But many of them, like, is it a 1-year deal for Griffin? So is Fitz now your long man? Like, are we actually pushing out some of these other acquisitions?
So I think the way that the rotation, if they were to start playing today, it would be Liberatore, Dustin May, Michael McGreevy, Dobbins, Leahy.
And so Dick Fitz isn't Dick Fitzing into the rotation to start the season.
I think Dick Fitz is either starting at AAA or in the bullpen.
Yeah.
I think Palante is either starting at AAA or in the bullpen. And it seems like they really want to get Leahy to start, at least, see what's happening there. And if you get Griffin Canning, then you probably are pushing. It makes. Well, it has to be Leahy or McGreevy.
Yeah, and at that point, I would say Leahy, because McGreevy at least showed promise. He needs to do some work in his own right, but I just can't imagine him losing his rotation spot after 2025. Yeah. So again, I'm not against it. Like, we need more pitchers, and if it's a 1-year deal, and the Cardinals are like, hey, listen, March, April, May, June, it's all committed to these 1-year deal guys just to try to maximize return, and all you other guys, you're gonna get your starts in the rotation starting in July and onward. There's still a lot of baseball to play, still a lot of starts. Okay, that's an interesting approach. Like, surely one of those guys won't do well anyway. Both Griffin Canning and May are coming back from injury, so there's some risk they wouldn't even pitch.
Well, I think that is right there, the nail on the head, is that I maybe expect 30 starts from Liberatore, but May, McGreevy, Leahy, Dobbins, Fitz, I don't think those guys are good for 30 starts in 2026.
Yeah. So
do you do a 6-man rotation?
Yeah. Go ahead and throw another guy on there, another guy on the pile. Hopefully one you can get some value out of.
We talked about it last season. I think when you're in a development year, a 6-man rotation makes a ton of sense. It protects guys, gives guys more rest. You get to see more arms. I think there's a lot of sense in doing that. I don't know if they've seriously talked about that or not.
Well,
but if you get a Griffin Canning or a Griffin Canning shaped player, do a 6-man rotation.
You know how I feel, of course.
They should all be
we're
closers.
heading to a 13-man rotation.
Yeah. No. You think the whole team will be built out of closers?
The whole team will be built out of 3-inning guys. They'll be like 9 3-inning guys, and maybe 10 3-inning guys and 3 1-inning guys. Yeah.
Because you should definitely, if you have a Tarek Skubal, you should use him less. It just makes sense.
Yes. No, obviously there would be outliers there, and the teams that able to do that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
See, when I did this in MLB The Show, Hambone, I had R.A. Dickey who would go once every 6 days and just give the whole bullpen a day off, and just reset everybody. So I could see some value in a long man, but for the most part, we got to mix and match, maximize those.
You just implied that Tarek Skubal is a long man.
He is a long man.
He's the best pitcher on the planet. That's okay.
Does he not go deep in most games? I think he's quite tall too, isn't he?
He is a big old boy.
He is a long man.
He's a long man. He's a thick man. He's a strong man. He's a wise man. Never made it as a wise man.
Yikes.
Yeah. Sorry for the amount of singing on this episode. We'll stop that.
Yeah.
Austin Hayes. You want to talk about Austin Hayes?
It's the same conversation.
It's the same just copy paste Andújar.
Yeah, honestly less exciting. Like Andújar, I at least understand he hits lefties well. There's a need for that. Hayes is fine. I've liked him in the past, but I don't know what you get out of Hayes that we can't just put Josh Baez out there at this point,
Hayes, let's see, in a decent sample size last year, he put up a 155 WRC plus against lefties.
It's better than I thought. I'll give you that.
Yeah, he 949 OPS. Destroyed lefties, but did have a sub 100 WRC plus against righties, and is a better outfielder than Andújar. So I think just copy paste the same conversation that we had about.
Yeah.
He just can't play the infield,
right?
Or hasn't played the infield yet.
That's the power of yet, Hambo.
Okay. All right, that's all I got, Nady.
All right, well, we're going to talk about the whole bunch of league news and play a little game. But before we do that, we want to remind our listeners that this show is listener-supported, just by listeners just like you. And if you want to support the show, consider joining our Patreon, patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. Supporters of the show get access to our private Discord server. It's the Bird Scored. Very active right now. Daily conversation about the Cardinals and the direction that the Cardinals are going. Really interesting conversation earlier with one of our the members of the Bird Squad who grew up in Cooperstown. That was very fascinating. So just some interesting conversation. Shout out to Christopher, and just a chill place to be. The internet kind of sucks right now, but the Bird Squad is awesome. So patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. You can also support the show by leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. That does actually help, and it only takes a couple minutes. And you could also tell your friends and family. We super appreciate that. Hambone, where else can people find us online?
You can follow us on all the socials, Nate. We got the Blue Sky. We got the Instagram. We even got the TikToks.
Wow.
We're TikToking all day long. We're TikToking. If you want to watch this podcast, you can go to youtube.com and find us there. You can find all the podcast information, shirts, links to the YouTube, the podcast, all that good stuff at talkingaboutbirds.com. Of course, you can email us at talkaboutbirds@gmail.com, and you can call us and leave a voicemail or send us a text message to 848-48-BIRDS. That's 848-482-4730. 7.
Yeah, we had a couple people reach out to us on, you and I had offered to help if anybody needs better understanding of how to get around like blackouts and things like that and access to games. We've had a couple people reach out to us, and it's been happy to help them. So one person texted us and another through email, and so we're here. We're happy to talk about whatever. If you want to get more involved with the Birdscored or understand how any of that works, like maybe you don't actually know what Discord is or something like that, like it's very easy to contact us. We're happy to talk through any of it.
Oh yeah, have we ever explained what the Discord? The Discord is just like an app, and we have different threads, and we talk about different topics in the threads. Some are for hot stove, some are for random things, some are for other Cardinals media podcasts and articles and stuff like that. But yeah, we just chat in there, text chat.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess if you're not a freaking nerd, you might not know what that is.
Nerd alert.
Yeah.
All right, Hambone. Let's talk about what's going on around the league. But kind of a heavy week despite no Cardinal news.
Yeah. Well, talk about the thing that's pissing everybody off. The Doyers.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have reportedly signed a contract with Kyle Tucker, and it is for 4 years, $240 million.
Yeah. With opt-outs after year 2 and 3, I believe. So
he can opt out after 2027 and 2028. He got a big fat signing bonus, and he'll be making $57.1 million per year.
By the way, this is so unless the economics of baseball change here in these upcoming CBA and or legislation, which is unlikely right now to solve this, we're going to see more of this signing bonus thing. It's flown under the radar a little bit, but like Vlad Guerrero's contract also. How do you feel about this, Hambone? Gigantic signing bonus, split up and paid out over 10 different over the life of the contract.
Yeah, it sounds like a signing bonus.
Why
to me, right?
why would you do that? Well, it's because bonuses are taxed differently, and it can be taxed on the place in which you reside versus where you are playing. And so these guys can live in places with lower tax rates, and their bonus and if their salary is bigger bonus, it lowers their overall tax burden, which I'm going to assume there's various opinions on things like this out there. But I think we see it with the Kyle Tucker one. We're going to start seeing, if nothing is done about this, we will see someone sign a like $500 million contract with a $450 million signing bonus that is paid out over the life of the contract. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's all to avoid taxes. But anyway, back to the thing that normal people are mad about, and not just, me.
I think I think California is working on a law, like a Shohei Ohtani law, so that he can't have his money taxed in in Japan and California.
Yeah, because that was another thing with his $700 million being so deferred and all that. It was in a lot of ways it was ultimately just to defer or reduce his taxes.
It really is. We're getting it from both ways. We're helping finance these stadiums with our tax money, and then the players aren't paying.
Yeah, it's so fucked. Yeah, so this is part of the whole stew of why people are so mad about these mega contracts, and the Dodgers in particular, as they obviously continue to like manipulate the contract laws in order to stay below certain thresholds and allow players and whatnot to avoid taxes, which is a lot. But like, people are mostly just mad about the Dodgers right now for just going and doing it again.
Let's keep it baseball focused now. Yeah, I'm sure most people agree with what we're saying. If you don't, message us.
Sure,
I'd love to hear your thoughts. But
send that to ben.samorka@gmail.
Wow. Really blown up. I guess you could have guessed that. And that's what they all are, right? Why don't you tell them my address too while you got it? I think the
fart
thing
fuck street.
doesn't even start with a number.
No,
Idiot.
the whole thing is you.
Moron. So the thing that I find the craziest about this is, well, first off, that he's making the same amount of money that Albert Pujols made over his entire Angels contract in 4 years. That alone is crazy. What is also crazy, typically the way that nerds look at these types of things is like, okay, the average dollar per WAR, it's about 10 million, maybe somewhere around that. In his highest, in his most powerful, best season, Kyle Tucker has been just under a 5 WAR player. They're paying him about $60 million a year. So they're like, just from that, and what I'm not trying to dunk on Kyle Tucker. What I'm trying to illustrate is the fact that the Dodgers are playing a game that nobody else is even.
Yeah.
We don't even have the rules to what they're doing. They don't care about overpaying. They don't need to worry about it. They're going to make this money back. They can come in, swoop in, outbid everybody. Overpaid Kyle Tucker, who has been injured the last couple of seasons, who hasn't been, he's good. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been highest AAV in the league level, but they don't care.
Yeah.
They can just swing their dicks around, get Kyle Tucker. And why would, if you're Kyle Tucker, why would you not sign this deal?
Oh, yeah.
You're getting $250 million in the quickest way possible. And you have you're 28 years old. You'll be 29 going into next year. You have two other opportunities to opt out to get more money on a longer term deal. And there is, I don't think any other team would be willing to execute this. Maybe the Mets. There was some chatter that the Mets were in the same area, but if I was Kyle Tucker, I would choose the Dodgers over the Mets. I think that the fact that the Dodgers are going to be running the highest payroll, it's not even close. The broken baseball conversation is what I'm getting around to. Is baseball broken? Is this bad? Can other teams do this? I don't know, Nate.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. This is the first one that I've been like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Because generally speaking, my opinion on the Dodgers has been the Dodgers aren't the problem. It's every other owner. Every team could spend more money. Every team could operate more like the Dodgers. They just choose not to. But the reality is that is at this level, that is not totally accurate. Most teams cannot spend like this. As much as I am like, they're all billionaires, they can spend more money. No, they all cannot spend like the Dodgers are now spending. A couple of years ago, you can make that argument that they could all be closer, but now we're in a whole new level. And in a lot of ways, though, to give credit to the Dodgers, it's self-fulfilling. They're spending a lot of money.
It is.
They went and signed Shohei Ohtani, who is an economy of himself. They basically, from my understanding, have made back from the Japanese fan base more than they spent to get him in the first place. So, like, they have created this monster by being really fucking good at building a good baseball team. Winning has created this economy for them. But at this point, I do think it's a little out of hand. And I think the owners now, there was an article saying that the owners have said their baseball cannot move forward without a salary cap. And so I think this will be the crux of the entire upcoming CBA. There will be other things discussed. There's other needs in the league. But if you have the owners planting their flag saying we are going to require a salary cap, it will come down to whether the players union will ultimately agree to that and what that will look like. Because I think you can understand that is an anti-player union stance. And this, I think, will end up being one of the few situations where the owners and the fans are on the same side. Whether that's right or wrong,
wonder.
it's an interesting argument, but
I do think that this is going to this is adding a can of gasoline to the fire that is the lockout, the impending lockout. And I worry about that. I think that the players are almost never going to agree to a salary cap. The owners seem hell-bent on getting one. And I think the problem that the players have right now, the only thing that I think is not going their way, because I do think generally if they stick together, they have as much power, if not more power than the owners, is the fact that the Kyle Tuckers of the world and the Blake Snells and Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtanis of the world are absolutely getting taken care of.
Yeah.
But the middle class has seriously faltered. The guys who we were talking about earlier, the Griffin Canning, maybe they're lower class, but the guys that aren't household names are getting left to 1-year deals and low money. And I wonder if the Players Association will decide that raising the dollars per year for the rank and file, as opposed to focusing on the tippity top, is going to make more sense. And by that, I mean institute a salary floor where teams have to spend, I don't know what the number is. I'm kind of just
I
talking
assume
freely
that's
right now.
going to eventually be the counterbalance to this whole thing. Something that will like, there's probably an equation out there where if you cap it at 350, but increase the floor to 150 or something like that, that ultimately creates more average spending per team than it is right now, or something like that, which then maybe the league doesn't want, because that would increase spending. But then you could start to bring in more of the different revenue sharing things and help these other teams get to that salary floor, if that really is the sticking point. If the Dodgers are only allowed to spend $400 million or whatever, now what do they do with their $900 million excess budget or whatever, and that can be revenue shared. Like, I think that's where this is going to head, is that there's going to be a salary cap that's going to be higher than anybody feels like is helpful right now. And there will be a salary floor that will hopefully force, the Pirates and others to actually spend. And they will do what you said. They will spend on the middle class of players, likely to get to that point, because,
Yeah. I also think I would be in favor of shortening the rookie contract as well, so that players are getting to free agency more quickly, so that those younger guys can cash in more quickly and maybe better and more efficiently. To take it back to where we started this conversation, the Dodgers have Kyle Tucker. They're absolutely loaded. Their payroll is going to be $412 million next year. I'm looking at it right now, Nate. They have 14 players who are going to make $10 million or more next year. They are just playing in waters that nobody else is.
Yeah.
Their projected lineup on opening day is Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Kyle Tucker, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Teoscar Hernandez, Tommy Edman, and Andy Pages. And that's not hitting on their 6-man, 8-man, 10-man rotation.
Tommy Edman just hanging out like, what's up, guys? I'm like you.
Must be nice. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
I think, yeah.
Well, we'll have plenty of time to talk about all this here after the 2026 season.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of time to talk. The Yankees and Cody Bellinger, right before we hopped on the pod today, are going to reunite on a new deal. Cody gets 5 years and $162.5 million, and a deal that seems like this was just always going to come together. Obviously, Cody really likes that short porch.
Yeah.
The Yankees really like his defense and his versatility.
I think it's a good deal for both sides. It seemed inevitable to me.
Yeah.
The Yankees were going to get it done one way or another. He held out, probably got a higher AAV. Other teams were interested, but like for his own career, that is the place for him to hit. So, it made sense.
And it's kind of nice to see Cody get the bag. It's been a weird couple of years. His whole career has been weird. But it's kind of nice. I like Cody Bellinger. I think he's a fun
He's
player
good.
to watch.
Yeah, I think he's good. And it's like he was, for a moment, it looked like he was trending the Kyle or Chris Bryant route of like incredible first few years and then just decline. But he's really reestablished himself. So, and this is a big boy deal.
Yeah, it is. So good for Cody, whatever, to the Yankees. The White Sox have finally traded Luis Robert Jr. to the Mets for Luis Angel Luis Angel Acuna, and minor league right-hander Truman Pauli. Luis Robert Jr., I believe he's only got 1 year remaining on that deal. It's two. Oh, it's a club option for 2027. My bad. Yeah. What's funny, Nate, he's going to be 28 next year. He is still very, very young. But you have to think he probably slides into center for the Mets. And I think that him getting off the White Sox is just good.
Yeah.
This is going to be good for him.
I think this was a stellar trade for the Mets. Look what Andrew Vaughn did when he got out of the White Sox last year. Everything is going to be better for him. I still see him as one of the highest upside players in the league. He clearly has suffered from injuries and other things, but I really think there's just a pox upon the White Sox house, and it will not surprise me at all if this dude is like a 6-WAR player for the Mets. It is a centerpiece of this team being good this year. And I don't think they gave up much. I know Acuna is the name and all that, but man, he looks like he can hit 2 home runs at the major league level. And, he's fast and he's still young, so maybe there's some upside there. But the White Sox have like a bunch of guys that are like light hitting fast guys, and I just don't know why you target him.
He is very young still. He'll be 24 coming into this next season. He has big league time under his belt. I'm very surprised that this is the best they could do for him, though.
Well, that's what I think. It's just a bad deal. They really fucked up the Luis Robert Jr. thing. They I understand that they had a GM change and that's always hard and whatnot. Yeah. And he's been their only good player for a little while, and that's hard to do. But they should have traded. He's been like one of the top trade candidates for years now. They just have finally. They hold and they hold and they hold, and then they sell low for this. It's and also, like, frankly, the White Sox are looking more interesting than they ever have. So why sell low?
And now they,
like, I would have if I'm a White Sox fan, I'm like, well, just keep Robert for the next year or two and see if he meshes with the other young players that are kind of interesting, and maybe trade him at the deadline for a real deal. But this just feels like dumping for the sake of dumping. And I'm pretty low on baby Acuna. So people may have different opinions depending on how you value him, but that's not the type of player I would have been looking for if I was the White Sox.
No, he's like a glove speed second baseman. I do think that he's got some potential, like more than your average glove speed second base, but I would not trade Luis Robert for
right. And they've got Mydroth, and I don't know. It's it's weird.
All right. Agreed. The Phillies and JT Realmuto have agreed on to reunite on a new deal that is worth $45 million over 3 years. Makes sense. Yeah. He should stay there. I like Realmuto.
Yet
nothing
another trade that the Marlins fucked up.
Yes.
There is like nobody from that deal that is still relevant. And,
Yeah, remember Sixto Sanchez? Yeah. You remember him?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to them, he was pretty well regarded at the time, but still.
So Jorge Alfaro?
Good memory. It's Jorge Alfaro, Sixto Sanchez, and Will Stewart. Yeah.
All right. So nothing to talk much about there, but he's sticking around. And then the final piece of news I have, Braves' new shortstop Ha-Seong Kim is out for 4 to 5 months following hand surgery. Kim suffered the injury after falling on ice back home in Korea, and it looks like he tore a tendon.
It's rough
in his hand.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I was pretty high on Kim coming into this year. I really thought he was gonna have a good year with the Braves, and he's basically not going to have a year with the Braves. Like, they'll come back in August or something like that. So,
well, yeah, you say, we got a month until spring training. Spring training's a month. Comes back, maybe a couple of months into the season.
Maybe July. Yeah, he could have a half season, but still, disappointing.
Yeah, it is disappointing. What a way to go.
Yeah.
Just slipping on ice. All right, Nate, that's all I got for league news.
All right, Hamburger, we're gonna wrap up with a little game. I love doing drafts, and we do them every once in a while on this show. But we've been in these games over the last few weeks. We've been talking a lot about like this decade or this century, and I thought it would be fun, Hambo, if we do a little draft of our favorite teams, our favorite St. Louis Cardinal teams from the 21st century. So, 2001 up to today. I think we'll each take 3. We'll see how much time we have. Maybe 4, but your favorite teams. Now, you can define this however you want. Okay? So, obviously, it's a draft. Once someone takes a team, and we'll just go back and forth. Once someone takes a team, you can't take them again.
All right, I'm having to do some really quick research because this is where my brain gets fuzzy. But maybe you go first overall. I'm guessing you had a little more time to plan this.
A little bit, but I thought we'd also just kind of work through this together. But I think if I'm taking my favorite teams from what's your favorite overall team from the 21st century?
I mean, there's 2. Okay,
there's 2 pretty clear ones, right? Because I think you do have to think about.
You have
to at the end of the day think about the actual result. There's a few teams in here that I had more fun with, maybe on an individual game or individual regular season. But we got 2 World Series in this period, and we got to start with the World Series. So which one do you like more? Right. 2006, 2011. Hambone, I'm gonna go with 2011.
Okay, good. I'm happy with
that. 2006, obvious, great choice, but 2011 for me personally, and my enjoyment of as a baseball fan, I spent way more time with this team. I watched probably every game that season, and I can't say that I did the same for 2006. Has some of my all-time favorites. We still have Pujols. We still have Peak Yachty. You get Game 6 of the World Series. Just an incredible year. Not the best team. We all know how 2011 as a regular season was and all that. But at the end of the day, they won a World Series, and they have some of the best Cardinals of this 21st century on that. So I'm going to take the 2011 St. Louis Cardinals.
All right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going with 06.
Yeah.
06 because I was going to pick that one over 11 anyways, just because of how undeserved it was, how completely insane it was.
Yeah.
You have Albert Pujols putting together one of the best seasons in the modern era, really, just absolutely ridiculous. Jim Edmonds is still relevant at this time. And this is the year of David Eckstein. David Eckstein, maybe the least toolsy, effective player that I can remember, period. And he comes through, wins you that World Series as your starting shortstop for the whole season. We also got to see a lot of Sotoguchi that year, which who doesn't love Sotoguchi if you're a Cardinals fan of our age? And this was a dominant Chris Carpenter season. So for those reasons, I'm going 06. Baby.
Yeah, I think.
And the World Series, of course. I don't know if I actually said that part.
Obviously, we had to start with those 2 teams, right? You can pick your poison on either side. After this is where it gets a little bit interesting. And I've been torn because I took the 2011 Cardinals. It seems pretty clear to me that I need to take a MV3 St. Louis Cardinals.
Damn it. Okay.
And I think that just lands on the 2005.
Oh, okay.
Are you
Okay.
doing 4? Oh, man, it's so funny how we have
Do whatever
we
you
have
want. Do
slightly
whatever you want.
different.
Do whatever you want.
2005 St. Louis Cardinals we get Larry Walker. We get an incredible Chris Carpenter season. We've got, obviously, Jim Edmonds, Scott Rowland. It essentially is the team that should have won the World Series, but didn't. And then most of them won it the next year in 2006. So for me, the 2005 Cardinals is the move.
Yeah, I'm going 0-4 because Albert Pujols put up 8.5 WAR that year.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Rowland 9.2. Jimmy Edmonds 7.2. That is 3 of the best players having a season that has ever happened. They all 3 should have won the MVP. They were, it was just absolutely incredible. Mike Matheny still around. You still got Edgar Renteria being great. Ray Langford, which, by the way, I got a Edgar Renteria card for my birthday sitting right here. Or it's not. I'm sorry, Ray Langford. Langford. Yeah, that just those 3 players absolutely dominant. Give it to me all day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 04, 05, 06. 3 of the best seasons of this of this era. We each have one more to take, and we're out of truly dominant St. Louis Cardinals teams. So I'm gonna go to. There's one team that made the World Series, but that's actually not the one I'm gonna pick.
Okay.
The season that I think I had some of the most fun as a St. Louis Cardinal fan was the 2015 St.
Fuck you. That's so insane.
Is that what that's what you
Wow.
were gonna take?
That is, yes, it was.
Yeah.
The J Hay year.
It's the J Hay year. Jason Hayward. I was such a fan of the acquisition. It paid off extremely well. He led the team in WAR. He was incredible. I think if you go back to my Twitter of 2015, I'm saying extend Hayward. It's probably everything I'm talking about is Jason Hayward. He was awesome. Dodged a bullet by not extending him, but at the time it seemed like such an obvious saying, and then he went to the Cubs, et cetera, et cetera. He was the best C student on the championship Cubs. But anyway, we get the Hayward season. We get the out of nowhere John Lackey total bounce back. We're getting some peak Matt Carpenter. We have Jaime Garcia. We have Carlos Martinez. Wainwright's still in there. But ultimately, what I remember from that year is the 100 wins. And if you remember, it was the Pirates 99 and the Cubs 98. And that was just such a fun season. And the Cardinals came out on top, of course, bounced by the Cubs in the playoffs, which is whatever, but one of my most favorite regular seasons and ultimately one of my favorite teams of that era. How about your last pick, Hambone?
Yeah, you obviously took the one that I wanted, so I'm pretty mad about that. So I think I am going to go with is it the 22 season? That's when Goldie won, right?
Yeah.
I'll go with the 22 season. You got Goldie winning the MVP. You got Nolan Arenado, who basically should have won the MVP. 42-year-old Albert Pujols hitting 24 home runs in about 2 weeks and launching the Cardinals into the playoffs. Waino's still there. Tommy Edman had a great season. There was a lot of fun, a lot of hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember those Albert Pujols home runs are some of my best baseball memories
Absolutely.
in a long time. So I'll give it to that one. Mad about you taking 15 from me, but I'm pretty happy with 22.
Yeah. So I think we'll wrap it at there. So mine were 2011, 2005, and 2015, and yours was 2006, 2004, and 2022. I think 2019 is a contender there, as well as the World Series attending team of 2013. If you're out there listening and have a different opinion, what are your favorite seasons of the year? Let us know. I think it's kind of a fun conversation. And that's going to do it for this episode. So thank you all for listening. As always, all the links and everything at talkingaboutbirds.com. Please check out the Patreon and shout out to all the patrons. We really appreciate you. And we will be back next week, as always, maybe with some more trade breakdown, but certainly there's always enough to talk about. So until next week, I'll say it. Go Cardinals.
Go Birds.